can you tell us your full name and tell us the tribal nations you're a citizen of?
Okay, my full name is Stephen Eugene Owens. Tribal citizenship exclusively Quapaw. My great grandfather was Leroy Watson, and his grandpa was named George Red Eagle, which I'm honored to be a descendant of. He was an interpreter for the from the Quapaws to the federal government. So,
Outstanding.
very important role for that ancestor.
Outstanding.
When you're thinking, you're looking up a little bit, and I'm
Okay.
gonna reflect
Yeah, so
back. So
just
be
right at
willing to
me
talk to
as
me.
you're thinking,
Okay.
because we're trying not to catch the reflection of the light in your glasses into
Gotcha.
Don't worry about it too much. Don't let it stop you. But
Just focus on talking to
yeah,
Roger.
just look at this bald, beautiful head over here, and we'll be just fine.
Awesome.
So talk just a little bit more about your ancestry with your grandparents, your parents. Tell us just a little bit more about that lineage.
The lineage, my great grandfather, he was a quarter Quapaw, and his mother was, wait, half, quarter, eight, six. No, he was half Quapaw, excuse me. It's printed wrong in one of the books, but his father was an Irishman named Gus Watson, and his mother was a full-blooded Quapaw named Josephine Red Eagle. He went through boarding schools. He worked in the mines, which was going on strong about 100 years ago, about like the casinos are booming today. But nah, he'd went through some things and always shared the past with me. He'd struggled with alcoholism until about 1956, where he'd always told me, my family gave me an ultimatum: either it's your family or the booze. And from 1956 till the day he passed on in 1996, he never touched a drink. None of us grandkids, including my mom and my cousin Jerry Helms, they were the firstborn of the grandkids. Nobody ever seen that man touch a drink, so he was like the patriarch of the family. And I knew he always gourd danced at powwows. He had some good old friends. There was one picture of me. Of course, I don't remember. I was like 1 or 2 years old. And we always considered his friends like our aunts and uncles, especially in tribal way. So Aunt Pauline Whitebird was dressing me in a ribbon shirt, and boy, I was there bawling and throwing a fit, and she handled me calmly. But anyway, those are some of my early memories of powwow. I'm 47 years old, and I'll count my time in the womb. So this will be upcoming my 48th consecutive Quapaw powwow.
Fantastic. Tell me, for somebody that's never been to a powwow, how would you explain it? And really paint me a picture of the sights, the sounds, even the smells. What is a powwow? How would you describe it to somebody that's never been to one before?
Well, when you look at, and powwows differ, this powwow, the powwow is a part of it. It's kind of like a family reunion every 4th of July, a celebration of the Quapaw people. So, we have plenty of meals. It's hotter than blue blazes down there. So, and you go from camp to camp. They're always wanting to feed you. And then that food is so good that you end up getting about a plate, and you don't have to worry about calories because that heat and humidity is going to burn it off. But anyway, there's the food, there's the fellowship, there's seeing relatives that you only get to see once a year, in most cases. And that's a beautiful part of it. The gourd dancing, contest dancing, all of that I'd never really been a part of. When it came to some dancings, it was like giveaway dances and intertribal dances. A few times I'd go out there. And then as I got older, I'd end up going out there and stomp dancing and wear myself out in a good way.
Love that. What's it feel like to you when you hear that drum? What does the drum mean, and how does it make you feel?
If I have any distractions, if I have any kind of anxiety going on with me, I can hear that drum, I can hear that good beat, and it's like the Creator is using that as a force to calm me down, to get my soul still, and to realize to get in a right place and a place of peace. That's what that drum means to me.
Love that. You're crushing it right now. Tell me a little bit about your first memories of the powwow. You kind of touched on this already, but just say it back again. But when you think about your first memories of the powwow when you're real little, can you recall any of those memories?
A little bit. I remember my great-grandparents. I'm one of them that I'm not aware who my actual biological father is. So the beautiful thing about the Quapaws being an extended family is my great-grandparents, Leroy and Margaret Watson. They took me in, and then my grandma also kind of helped, all aunts and uncles. I mean, there's like an authority tree, and it's not just mom and dad. It's, first of all, the eldest one in your family, my great-grandpa. He was the patriarch. And then he had 4 daughters, my grandma, Georgianne, the oldest daughter, my Aunt Jo, and Aunt Martha and Aunt Mick. And on down, there was my mother, there was my Uncle Mark, my Aunt Mary, and they all had some kind of influence in my upbringing. And just some of the things I remember, if I acted out of line or anything, my Aunt Jo was one of them, to where she never laid a hand on any of her nieces and nephews, but she didn't have to. She had a stern way of getting onto you where you understand, and then when it seemed a little bit harsh, she would wrap it up. Where you can get it in kind of a loving, understanding way, and then next thing you know, you're acting better. And that was important, and I was always taught in my family, the oldest one left out of the immediate family, you look at them as grandma, you look at them as grandpa. So I looked at my Aunt Jo as grandma until she passed away shortly after my great-grandparents passed away. But just my Aunt Jo's lectures, and then watching them all in that dead heat. I'd watch Grandma frying chicken from scratch. I'd watch my great-grandma, my Nana, Margaret Watson. She would flatten the fry bread dough, and then they'd get the grape dumplings together. It's like every Saturday at the powwow, and this has never died. We're always having that traditional dinner. And then that's where we invite family, that's where we invite friends, and not just there for the contest dancing, but there to enjoy the whole experience.
When you think about this strong lineage and being raised by so many of your elders, are you proud? Are you proud to be part of Quapaw?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In my faith, I look for a better word other than pride, because pride, I can kind of get full of myself, and I look at it as an honor more so than pride. And I'm humbled to that honor to be a part of this family and be a part of this nation.
Well said. Talk a little bit about the future. You've seen this now for decades and decades. What do you think the future holds for Quapaw?
Well, in the future, as long as, the ones that I mentioned, my grandma, she passed away a few years ago. My Aunt Mick's the only one left out of my grandma's generation. When you look at those ones and the older you get, keep the words that they said, the words of wisdom that they said, alive in your heart. And when you lose them, you'll never lose the memory. So you want to keep that memory because that's a part of your upbringing. That's a part of you. And take that and move forward. We can never forget what our elders, who has become ancestors as time goes on, we cannot afford to forget what they taught us.
Love that. Let's unpack that a little bit more because I think that's a beautiful way of saying it. And I guess the question we could put it this way is when you think about the tribe, when you think about the tribal nation, in what ways can you carry this on for generations and generations? What advice would you have for people when it comes to preserving the history and the tradition and everything like that?
Have an open ear to the history, and stay humble to it.
Well said. Talk about the powwow a little bit more. When you think about how it's changed over the years, when you were a little boy going to it compared to now, how has it changed, or has it stayed the same mostly?
I believe it's safer. Now, I was younger and ornery, so I partied a little bit by the bridge. But as I've gotten older, as I've gotten more, as life's matured me a little bit, that wasn't ever the purpose of the powwow. And that kind of stuff, it messes with the safety. That has changed through the years. They've really put a clamp down on that. And then also stuff like fireworks and stuff. You used to have accidents here and there because of bottle rockets and stuff. They've really clamped down on the riffraff, and I think that is a very positive change.
Well said. Tell me, what does O-Gah-Pah mean to you? What do the words O-Gah-Pah mean to you?
O-Gah-Pah, I know the language and of the downstream people and everything. It just means family to me.
That's perfectly fine. That's great. Tell me just a little bit about, we're going to kind of backtrack to the future and where everything's headed. I guess the question would be, if you had advice for the next generation of Quapaw, if you had advice for the younger generation, and I'm sure you do, what would your advice be to them to keep the heritage strong, to keep the tribe moving forward?
Times are always going to change, but it's important that we keep our roots.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Is there anything that you want to talk about when you think about either the things that have been passed down to you, or the powwow, or the tribe as a whole? Is there anything that's important to you?
Mainly just respecting those elders of the family. Be kind and courteous to everybody. Even if you have disagreements with people, there's a kind and courteous way to do that. And then it's always such a blessing to be a part of something bigger than yourself.
Do you think that the tribe is bigger than you? Is it bigger than yourself?
Well, I think it's bigger than any individual. It's something that God made us to be a part of something great like this. He put us together as a nation, as a family. And just with that bit of knowledge, that's where the best way to go is to honor that.
Well said. I got a few last questions before I do. Ashton, Drew, do you got anything? It's okay if you don't. Wrapping it up here again, unless there's anywhere else you want to take it. But describe the Quapaw culture to somebody that doesn't know much about it. When you run into, whether it be an old high school buddy or they're asking you about it, how do you describe the culture of Quapaw? What is the culture of Quapaw?
The culture. I just live out the family values and explain when I need to. And the culture would be making you feel like you're welcome.
Well said. Extremely well said.
Can we get that last thing where he says he's like
Culture.
talking about the culture, like
Yeah.
all that in one phrase,
Yep.
like the culture of our tribe is.
Yeah, exactly that. So you just start the sentence with, if I were to describe the culture of Quapaw, I would say, or something along those lines. We just need it in a full sentence. So what is the culture of Quapaw?
The culture of the Quapaw would be a matter of family, making you feel like you're welcome, a part of family when you come around us Quapaws.
Beautiful, beautiful answers. Anything else? Unless there's something else you want to talk about.
I am good to go.
Watch your head when you get up. That was fantastic. Appreciate your time. Watch your head.
Absolutely.
When you get up here. Well done.